I think the biggest thing on our side is he's very, very strong. Very strong. So, yes, he's super, super strong. Out of all my lightweights, he is the strongest one out of all of them. I don't recall one lightweight stronger than him.
What does he weigh like normal? Right now, if you called him up, what do you weigh, brother?
I would say at least minimum like 185, 190.
Out here. He's 210 pounds.
No, it's like
that guy's 250 pounds.
His strength feels like 250 pounds.
That's what I hear.
But that's the thing with them. They're always training. No matter what they're doing, they always at least run once a day or grapple.
He's big. That's about as big as you can get and keep doing that. Islam Makhachev is huge. I mean, that guy, how he makes 155 is... I don't understand it. Every time I stand next to him, like, how are you 155?
How much do you think he walks around?
He's got to be 190-ish, in the 190 range. He's got to be. That's what he looks like.
Islam Makhachev is showing up noticeably larger as he prepares for his upcoming showdown with welterweight champion Jack Della Maddalena. The lightweight king looks comfortable at the higher weight and is brimming with confidence as he chases a second UFC title. Former UFC fighter and analyst Dan Hardy weighed in on the upcoming Islam Makhachev vs Jack Della Maddalena matchup. Hardy recalled how he had praised Della Maddalena's striking years ago, even when Francis Ngannou was making headlines for a boxing crossover. He noted that JDM's stand-up skills still impress him today. Turning to Makhachev, Hardy suggested the timing of his move to welterweight couldn't be better. Rather than cutting his growth short the way some fighters do, Islam has allowed his body to naturally fill into the division, making him an even more dangerous threat.
He's moving up to 170. He's going to be fighting JDM for that title. Do you think he gets the job done, or how do you see the fight playing out?
Man, I've been high on JDM for a long time. You know, I remember doing interviews back when Ngannou was crossing over to boxing, and people were talking about who's got the best hands in MMA, and I was saying JDM at the time. I mean, his boxing's always impressed me. But at this point, I feel like Islam's moving up a weight class at the right time. You know, there are a lot of fighters that stay in a weight class for too long, and they seem to kind of stifle their physical growth. I don't think Islam can stay healthy and stay in that lightweight division for any longer. And I think right now he's allowed himself to move into a division where his body's just going to grow into it. He's going to be incredibly powerful.
Dan Hardy continued his breakdown of the matchup, emphasizing that Makhachev's all-around game makes him a nightmare for anyone across the cage. While he sees the striking exchanges as competitive, Hardy believes Islam's use of kicks gives him a slight advantage on the feet. Still, he predicts the real difference will come once the fight hits the mat. In Hardy's view, Makhachev's wrestling and grappling are likely to wear JDM down over time, setting the stage for a submission finish in the later rounds.
All-round game is so problematic for any single fighter. I see him taking it, and I can see him probably a 50-50 striking exchange, Makhachev winning with a kicking advantage, but then he's grappling and his wrestling taking over, probably winning by sub in the championship round.
Coach Javier Mendez weighed in on Makhachev's move up in weight, stressing that physical strength is one of Islam's biggest assets. Having trained countless lightweights over the years, Mendez noted that none of them matched the raw power Islam brings into the gym. That, he argued, is what makes Makhachev uniquely prepared to handle the size and strength of natural welterweights.
It'd be so interesting to see how his body reacts on the fight night, you know, being able to consume extra carbs, to be a little bit bigger. Like, what do you think is the biggest strength for him being able to go up to this weight class?
I think the biggest thing on our side is he's very, very strong. Very strong. So, yes, he's super, super strong. Out of all my lightweights, he is the strongest one out of all of them. I don't recall one lightweight stronger than him. Not even close. He's the strongest. So out of everybody I have, he's the guy that has the best opportunity to be able to handle the strength of the bigger guys.
Coach Javier Mendez acknowledged just how dangerous JDM is on the feet, crediting his striking as one of the most versatile weapons in the division. According to Mendez, JDM has the ability to inflict serious damage from every angle, whether it's with his punches, kicks, knees, or sharp uppercuts. He admitted that this kind of striking threat demands respect, and cautioned that the longer the fight remains standing, the more dangerous it becomes for anyone matched up against him.
How do you rate JDM's striking? And how do you feel like they match up with Islam's striking?
His striking is very, very good. It's very diverse, and he's very powerful with every strike. I mean, he can hurt you with anything. He can hurt you with a kick, a knee, left hook, right hand, right uppercut, left hook, you name it. The guy's got the total arsenal to be able to put you down. So I am definitely fully aware of what he can do. And also, the longer it stands, there's always a good chance he's going to get hit, we're going to get hit. So the longer it stands, the worse it can get for somebody. At some point or another, guys like this, they're both volume kind of, precision strikers. So, we just have to make sure that he doesn't land any of the bombs, and it could.
Javier Mendez stressed that JDM is far from a one-dimensional striker. What makes him so dangerous, Mendez explained, is his ability to fire off fluid combinations while switching stances seamlessly in the middle of exchanges. That unpredictability has left a strong impression on the veteran coach, to the point where he admits he's taking this preparation more seriously than usual. For the first time in years, Mendez says he's been going back and studying JDM's past fights in detail, a clear sign of the respect he has for the challenge Islam will be facing.
He's not a one-type guy. He's a 1, 2, 3, 4 type, then rechambers and comes back again, and he'll switch his style. While he's punching you, he's switching. So you're going from orthodox to southpaw, back to orthodox, all-ball striking. And that's extremely impressive. Very, very impressive. I'm extremely impressed with them. And obviously, when I say I'm extremely impressed by them, that means I better work even harder, because we actually have a real opponent. And we have to make sure we get everything right, because this is the individual that can make our night a very bad night if we don't do our homework. And I'm definitely doing my homework. I'm watching him. I'm actually, for the first time in a long time, I'm actually watching the video of an opponent, even though I just watch him one time, but not this guy. I'm actually, believe it or not, I watched it 2 times already, the whole fight, and I never used to. So this is how much I respect them.
When asked about Islam opening as the betting favorite against JDM, Javier Mendez brushed off the odds entirely. He argued that numbers on paper don't reflect how dangerous this matchup really is. In his eyes, overlooking an opponent is one of the biggest mistakes a fighter, or team, can make, and he refuses to fall into that trap. While he admits Islam may hold a small advantage, Mendez sees the fight as nearly dead even and warns that anyone expecting an easy night is in for a shock.
I don't believe those odds. I'm sorry. It's a lot tougher fight than what the odds are saying. I'm not going on that. You get caught up with that stuff. That's when it could go bad. Just think about the people that were like 15 or 20 to 1, and all of a sudden they go out there and get their butt kicked. Underestimating their opponent. It's dumb. I'm not underestimating this guy. If anything, it's a 1% advantage for us type fight. That's the way I want to look at it.
Javier Mendez described Islam as a fighter who doesn't rely on hype or extra motivation. He simply listens, follows the game plan, and executes with precision. What impresses Mendez most is Islam's steady growth from fight to fight. While many continue to draw comparisons between him and Khabib, the coach was quick to note that their styles and personalities are far from identical. Each man brings his own unique strengths to the sport, and in Islam's case, even a sharp sense of humor shines through, giving him a distinct identity both inside and outside the cage.
Has always been, the kind of fighter that you just wind them up, tell them what to do, and let them go. And that's exactly what's happening here. He does his own. You don't need to motivate him. You just need to tell him what you want, and he'll go out and do it. I'm very happy to see the progress he's making, because I do see it, he's a different kind of guy. As you notice, him and Khabib, they're different. Islam isn't Khabib, Khabib isn't Islam. So a lot of the characteristics of what they do or what they don't do, they're different, but they're also very funny in their own way. Islam's got some really funny sayings that really catch on, but they're different approach. They're not the same kind of approach.
Nick Barnhill sees Jack Della Maddalena as the kind of opponent who can finally push Islam Makhachev into deep waters, giving fans the back-and-forth battle they've been craving. In Barnhill's view, Islam's dominance at lightweight hasn't always received the credit it deserves, not due to his performances, but because of the sky-high standard left behind by Khabib. Add in last-minute opponent changes and softer replacements, and his title run has sometimes been judged more harshly than it should.
I really think that Jack Della Maddalena has the perfect style to combat Islam and moreover give us what we've wanted out of an Islam Makhachev fight for years now, which is a competitive fight.
Yeah.
Islam, it was really unfortunate for him because his entire legacy as 155 champion is a bit tarnished, and it's not from anything he did, but because of our expectations and how good he is and the footprint that Khabib laid and then he had to follow, it felt very quickly that once he got the belt, there was a big gap in skill between him and everybody else. And then with a couple things like fallouts happening, Arman Sarukian, pulling out like a day before the event, him having to fight Renato Moicano instead, all of those types of things made Islam's career at 155 feel diminished and not as epic as it truly was. So this to me is exactly where Islam needed to go with his career if he wanted to get the respect and the legacy that he's been trying to build since he, had dreams of the UFC.
In a recent interview, Islam Makhachev confirmed that his training camp is already in motion and running according to plan. He acknowledged Jack Della Maddalena as a legitimate threat, stressing that every champion in the UFC comes with their own dangers. Makhachev made it clear he's approaching this fight with full focus and expects to be in peak form by mid-November when the two collide for the welterweight crown.
Анонсировал твой бой против Маддалены за титул в полусреднем весе. И расскажи, как проходит твоя подготовка и видишь ли ты опасность в нем?
Подготовка проходит хорошо, только начали. Как раз только говорил, что на сборах были 3 недели, приехали. Опасность, конечно, если человек чемпион на какой-то вес, особенно у нас в организации, там таких проходных не бывает. Так что подхожу с максимальной ответственностью к этому бою и думаю, буду к середине ноября в хорошей форме.
Meanwhile, Dan Hooker weighed in on the matchup between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena, hinting that the UFC may have paired them together because of the clash in styles. In his view, Makhachev's team must see something they can exploit, but he also admitted the task ahead for Jack is no small one. Hooker noted that Della Maddalena's size and punching power could create real problems, and while he acknowledged Islam's danger, he slightly leaned toward Jack having the edge.
Confident stylistically with that Jack Della fight to they kind of gone out of their way to chase that fight down. So they obviously see something. I feel like it'll be close, but yeah, that's a big step up. Jack Della's a pretty big boy.
Yeah. Do you think Islam can get past him?
He's obviously got I feel like he's got a chance, but I feel like that fight leans towards Jack Della.
Jack Della Maddalena's coach, Ben Vickers, didn't mince words when sharing his outlook on the fight. He voiced strong belief that Islam Makhachev won't be able to handle Jack's striking arsenal. Drawing a comparison to Belal Muhammad, Vickers argued that Makhachev doesn't possess the same level of toughness to absorb damaging shots. He emphasized that Jack is dangerous every minute of the fight, carrying knockout power alongside relentless conditioning, a combination he believes could be the deciding factor.
I don't think Islam has the chin that Belal has.
You feel like it's a situation where this is going to be an eventual down the line, like 3rd, 4th round? Or do you think people might even be shocked to see it happen earlier on?
We know for a fact if Jack clips someone clean on the chin, they can go over. So it could happen in the 1st minute. It could happen in the 24th minute. It could happen in the 24 minute, 59 seconds. It could happen 3 rounds in. Jack likes long fights. He likes to be in there. But obviously we're not getting paid for overtime. So if the opportunity arises, we're happy to take it. But Jack's cardio, as we saw, Bilal's reputedly the best cardio in the UFC, and Jack out cardioed him. Belal was more tired than Jack towards the end of the fight. So Jack's cardio is exceptional, his power is exceptional, and yeah, I like the fight. I really do.
Ben Vickers weighed in on Islam Makhachev's shift to welterweight, noting that while Islam is undeniably strong, Jack Della Maddalena brings the edge in both size and striking power. He pointed out that years of competing at lightweight could make the transition less straightforward, potentially impacting Makhachev's speed, stamina, and fluidity inside the cage. Vickers added that even with time to adapt, it's still unclear how well Islam's style will translate against someone who's been a true welterweight his entire career.
It's going to be fascinating to see what Islam looks like at this weight class. What do you think? Do you think a lot of his power, a lot of his strength translates to the division with Jack?
It's so hard to tell, to be honest. He's a big dude. He's a good fighter, Jack's bigger. Jack's probably stronger. He's got more power on the feet. But I don't know what kind of fighter he's going to be. What I do know is that it's, as a fighter who's fought at 70 his whole career, this is going to be his first time in a very competitive matchup at welterweight, and it's different. It's a different, you know, it's going to be different for him. He's carrying more weight, and obviously he's had months now to prepare for this and get used to carrying the weight, but he's been fighting at lightweight for a decade. You know, so to then move up a weight class, it is different. And I don't know how that's going to affect his gas tank, his ability to move as well.
On the other side, Kamaru Usman has set his sights on the winner of Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. The former welterweight champion made it clear he's ready for that challenge. And capture the belt. The truest way to cement himself as the face of a new era would be by testing himself against a proven pound-for-pound great like him.
If JDM defends and wins defends that title against Islam, who better than to say, okay, let's solidify him as the new generation of champion by taking on the biggest name, the former pound for pound in the division. Of course, me. And listen, and then of course if Islam wins, pound for pound versus pound for pound fighting, I mean, I'm not really worried here. You know, I've done my job to let them know, because they wanted to see, hey, are you still that guy? Can you still hang with these guys? Can you still do your thing? And I've done that. I went in there and I've showed them that, so I'm not.
So far, neither fighter has responded publicly to Usman's call-out. In the meantime, Sean Brady shared his perspective, admitting that he's personally rooting for Islam Makhachev. For Brady, a future showdown with Islam would represent a career-defining moment, the kind of matchup that would put his grappling to the ultimate test. Still, when pressed to make a prediction, Brady leaned toward Jack Della Maddalena. He argued that the underdog isn't getting the recognition he deserves and has the tools to pull off a surprise victory.
Selfishly, for me, I would want Islam to win because I want to fight Islam as for a legacy thing. And I think I can beat Islam. I think I can beat anybody in the world. And I want to grapple. I want my grappling to go against his grappling and see who's better. You know, I really would love for that to play out. But if I had to pick, and I know Jack would be the underdog, I would pick Jack.
Sean Brady believes Islam Makhachev's move up to welterweight has shaken things up in the division. He mentioned that a showdown with Ilia Topuria could be looming, and the outcome would dictate Makhachev's future. In Brady's eyes, a defeat might send Islam back down to lightweight, while a victory could keep him at 170 for a short stint. He even suggested Makhachev might defend the belt once or twice before eventually
coming up is what kind of fucked up this whole division in the first place, you know, but you can't be mad at him. If I was in that situation, I'd probably be doing the same thing. But I know him and Topuria are trying to set something up. If he wins, I think he's staying at 170. I think the chances of him, I think if he loses, there's a bigger chance of him going back down to 155, and then maybe them still doing that Ilia Topuria fight. That's how I think of it. I think if he wins at 170, he'll defend it one or two times, and then he'll bounce from there. Yeah, and vacate or retire. Like those guys, they're not fighting very late into their 30s. You know, they're retiring early. So
Robert Whittaker admitted he was surprised by Islam Makhachev stepping away from a lightweight crown. He explained that fighters usually stick to predictable paths, which is why this decision felt unusual, especially from someone regarded as one of the UFC's biggest stars. In Whittaker's view, the promotion would have likely preferred Islam to hold on to the title longer, making the move all the more unexpected.
What I think was unexpected was the relinquishing of the lightweight title.
They don't want to do it anymore. No one can be double champ technically anymore.
I expected it in a sense that because Topuria did it, people would have to follow suit. But Islam's kind of like the poster boy right now for the UFC in terms of like mega star sort of things, right? Yeah, I didn't see them doing that, but I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong, because I think double champs is really stall the division. You know what I mean? So I'm happy the lightweight division can move on.
Robert Whittaker analyzed the matchup and gave the slight edge to Jack Della Maddalena. He highlighted Jack's toughness and durability, saying it could help him absorb the pressure of Makhachev's grappling heavy style. Whittaker also noted that Jack's striking arsenal might become the deciding factor if the fight stays on the feet. In his view, Islam may approach the ground exchanges with more caution than usual, since Jack is capable of creating danger even from defensive positions.
Jack has that X factor. I think he has the gut, the grit, the determination to fight the takedowns, to fight the ground, the takedown attacks that Islam is going to go for. And I think in a striking fight, straight up, Jack is better. I think he wins in the hands. Yeah. I think Jack's got the better game to strike over 5 rounds than Islam does as well, especially if Islam is trying to go for takedowns. I think, and there's a people sleep on Jack's grappling game. They sleep on his jiu-jitsu. I don't think Islam is going to be as gun-ho with the takedowns as everybody believes, because Jack has that level of offense off his back.
On the flip side, Michael Bisping believes Jack Della Maddalena has a real shot at pulling off an upset at UFC 322. He highlighted Jack's size, his strong takedown defense, and the precision of his boxing as the main tools that could change the fight. In Bisping's view, Jack is competing at the peak of his game right now, and that momentum gives him a genuine chance to walk out of the cage still holding the welterweight title.
So Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena, that has been announced. But I'll tell you what, Jack Della Maddalena is bigger. He showed that he can stop takedowns. On the feet, there's absolutely no question. Jack Della Maddalena is on another level. He's probably got the best, cleanest boxing in the UFC. It wouldn't surprise me if we see an upset here and Jack Della Maddalena is still the champion at the end.
Terrence McKenna offered a different perspective, suggesting that many fans underestimate how much Islam Makhachev could benefit from competing at welterweight without the strain of a big weight cut. He believes Islam's durability and strength will rise as a result, making his grappling game even more effective. McKenna predicts the contest will be closer than most expect and sees a realistic path for Islam to edge out a tight 3-2 decision, potentially securing his second UFC championship.
People think his chin's going to be much better. He's not drained. I think he's going to be stronger once he hits the ground. I think it's going to be a closer fight than people think, but I can see Islam definitely winning 3 rounds to 2 and becoming a double champ.
Luke Rockhold weighed in on the Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena showdown, calling it a difficult but thrilling matchup. He mentioned that right now, fighters like Islam, Ilia Topuria, and Jack are among the ones he enjoys watching the most. While he acknowledged Jack's solid wrestling, Rockhold believes Islam's years of grappling expertise ultimately give him the advantage. At the same time, he highlighted Jack's natural size as a potential difference maker, especially since he has trained with Islam and noticed the physical gap firsthand. Rockhold admitted he's curious to see how that plays out once the cage door closes.
Do you see him beating JDM to win that welterweight title?
That's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight. It's going to be interesting. I think those are my 3 favorite fighters in the UFC right now. We go Islam, Topuria, and JDM. JDM's fun to watch. So, that's going to be a great fight. He's no slouch at wrestling, but you have a guy that's wrestled his whole life and grappled his whole life versus JDM. He's kind of he's secondary on that, but, you never know. He's a bigger guy. So, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, he's definitely grown. We'll see how he carries the weight.
Colby Covington gave his take on the upcoming clash, siding with Islam Makhachev over Jack Della Maddalena. He admitted Islam won't be the physically bigger man, but emphasized that his all-around skill set more than makes up for it. Covington explained that if Makhachev is able to impose his grappling, drag Jack to the canvas, and maintain control, the momentum will swing in his favor. While he acknowledged the size difference adds another layer of intrigue, he still leaned toward Islam to walk away with the victory.
Islam versus JDM. What do you make of that? Islam moving up to now welterweight.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight. I'm excited to see how it goes. Islam, is a lightweight. He's going to be a little smaller in the fight, but he's a well-rounded fighter. So, if he's able to take down JDM and control him, he could definitely get the job done. But it's going to be interesting to see how the size advantage plays a difference in the fight.
Who do you favor?
I seen the odds were pretty big. They favored Makhachev 3-1. So I guess I got to go with the odds if they're going 3-1. But just because JDM doesn't have good takedown defense, but you never know. It's a fight, and JDM has some good hands, so it should be an exciting fight for the fans.
That's a wrap for today's breakdown. Now it's your turn. How do you see Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev going down? Share your predictions in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and check out our other content for more fight analysis and MMA updates.